All right, so here we are doing another podcast, post-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas podcast, and I am joined by Cassie.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself?
So I am a real estate agent in the Central Virginia area. I have been licensed for about 3 years. Still working my way up and trying to break into the market.
Awesome. So how old are you?
I'm 25.
25. So what did you do before this?
So I worked in a salon. I was one of the head managers at a salon
Okay.
in Bon Air. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Fun times.
How long did you do that for?
I did that for about 3.5 years,
Okay.
I'd say.
Yeah. So what caused you to change?
I always wanted to get into real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want to leave the job I was at, stability purposes.
Sure.
So eventually I made the jump, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, a little bit more stability in the salon, unless you got people like me. You don't need haircuts. So what was your process like when you go from, working or managing a salon to into real estate?
Well, it was a lot different, going from a W-2 employee to being self-employed.
Sure.
I'd say it's definitely a change in learning how to work your schedule and learning what works for you, and having that, personal life and work balance. So that was the big thing. And I also was an assistant in real estate for about a year until I jumped in and got my own license. So I had a little bit of a, helping stage.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So who are you with?
I am with EXP.
EXP?
Bridge, yep.
And are you on a team?
I am with the Walker Real Estate Group.
Is that where you've been since you started?
It has been.
How'd you get linked up with that?
So I've known the team lead, Eric Walker, for a while, even before I got into real estate, and he was pretty much a mentor to me. He helped me get licensed, and I was his assistant for about a year.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And what do you think some of the benefits are for being on a team?
I think, you get the additional training, you get CRM access, you get leads for yourself because it's hard as a young agent to, have clientele. So you have to kind of start somewhere, and those leads help you jumpstart your business.
So being 25, you say you've been doing this for 3 years? Mm-hmm. See, I listened. I said I put you at 22 when you started. So 22 to 25 is still pretty young, right? As I said over here, at 40 with a busted knee and a shoulder I can't lift up and all the other problems I have. What's some of the challenges you faced being a young woman realtor in the industry?
I'd say, specifically the age is a big thing. So, coming into real estate, the average agent is around 54 years old.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So, you lack credibility in some areas, and it's kind of hard to build that up, especially with your sphere and the people around you that, you went to high school with years back. So, it just takes some extra work and extra time. Yeah.
What's some of the things you've done to help try to overcome those challenges?
I would say I've just worked extra hard. I've tried to put in extra hours. I've tried to meet a lot of professionals, network, and kind of learn from the best when I can. And then aside from that, it does help to have some family in the business so that you have someone to go to for leadership and mentorship outside of, your typical mentor.
Sure.
So that helps a lot.
So what do you do when well, I guess the first question is, in all the deals you've done, what's your average age of clients that you've been working with?
Probably on the older side.
Really?
A lot of 40 to 50-year-olds. Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. All right. And how have you handled the, I don't know, maybe the viewpoint or the looking down from more so people from my side, right?
Yeah.
When they have a 23, 24, 25-year-old agent, telling them about real estate and, they know more, right?
Right.
Everybody knows more, right?
Yep.
Because we get the same thing, Dad showed up at the inspection. Uncle used to be a contractor back in the 70s for a summer, and they know more, right?
Yeah.
So how do you, I guess, diffuse that situation or make them more comfortable with someone who is younger in the industry?
I'd say, you're not going to turn everyone into a client. But at the same time, if you can provide the value that they need and you can guide them through situations and let them know that they can trust you ultimately, and you're not in it for anything, you just want, that relationship.
Sure.
You build it up over time. That's been very helpful for me.
And you just said something that's really important, and it's really hard for people to grasp, especially in the beginning, is that not everybody is going to be your client.
Yep.
And it's especially hard when you're in a market like this, right? Because it's slowed down compared to COVID, with interest rates and costs of homes and things like that. And it's hard to just say, you know what, you're not it, right?
Right.
Because that's a paycheck, right? So how long did it take you to realize not everybody is either A, your client, or B, just not worth the energy to be put into? And not because they're bad people, but just because, you just don't mess with them, right? Maybe you're just not the right fit, or they're not the right fit for you. And for the sake of your sanity, it's time to, refer them to somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say it definitely is trial and error, because you have to kind of learn to read people and, if they're taking you seriously or not. So I've definitely went through some trial and error periods. Yeah. I've dealt with clients that themselves weren't so serious. And then, on the other side of things where they would question me or question my intelligence on certain situations. Yeah. And, I know what I know. Sure. And I have a network of professionals behind me that I always can ask questions if I need to. But anything in real estate is trial and error. I mean, I feel like you kind of have to go through a lot of transactions to learn, because every situation's so different.
It is. And that's why I like, about home inspections, because every home's different. Yesterday I did a 100 and some year old home, built in like 20 or 1917-ish, and there's a whole lot of different things than the new construction I'm doing tomorrow. So, but yeah, one of the things that I found is I always tout the relationships we've made with other professions, right? So that way, if I don't know something, then I can send a picture or a report, or, even have someone come out with me to look at the issue to determine if it is an issue and to what extent it is an issue. Because you can't know everything, right? Whether it's real estate, home inspections, doesn't matter. You just can't know everything because there's so much to know. So when we see something that's just weird, and we're honest about it, and that's one of the biggest things that people they lie, right? They don't want people to think they don't know what they're doing. So instead of being honest and saying, "Hey, I'm not real sure, I'll find out," it's made up random answer.
Right.
And then when the client
people can see right through that too.
Yeah. As soon as they figure out that you lied to them, that's when it starts to break down, right? You lose your credibility, and they're ready to move on to somebody else. So, so the fact that I think you can be honest and you build a network up, that you can ask people for help, or answers to questions you don't know. And I think it goes a long way when you're talking to clients. Absolutely.
I think whether you're 3 years in or 15, 20 years in, you need to have a network of people that you can go to, and because the market's always changing,
Yeah, it certainly is. And, the last couple of weeks, I've had a couple issues, call outs, where I was asked to go look at something specific, not a home inspection, but like, hey, can you come check and see if this is okay? And, given what the nature was, I called a friend, who's been on the podcast, old Ben for Restoration One, like, hey man, what are you doing tomorrow? And how about we go take a look at this crawl space, that way, because I knew if it was something, if it was an issue, he was going to be my referral anyways, so you might as well get the person out there who's going to actually have the knowledge, to give you the more direct answer versus me saying, possibly, right?
Absolutely.
In case it was something I wasn't 100% familiar with. So I think, again, it goes a long way, so if you're doing a seller's consultation and maybe their house isn't, pristine, it can be helpful to bring somebody in, and whether that's a staging expert or whether that's a painter, whether that's a contractor, and or even just a more seasoned agent that's, been through, the '08 crash and all the ups and downs and say, hey, this is what you need to do to sell your house, right? Just for reinforcement too, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes they need to hear another voice as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Sometimes you being the messenger, sometimes it's the messenger they don't want to hear, right? So you got to get somebody else. And when you start talking to people that, I've had in situations in previous lives where, hey, you got to make it sound like it was their idea. If you don't care about getting credit for it, then you got to make sure it's their idea.
I feel like it's about giving them options.
Sure.
Like you can do this or this. So then it is their idea, or their choice.
100%. So, so 3 years. So you started, is that during COVID?
So it was more so at the beginning of the year. So it may have been closer to 2.5.
Okay.
It's kind of weird because I was, as an assistant, kind of working both angles, and I was helping, my team lead with his transactions at the same time. So somewhere around there. But it took me probably a few months to get licensed because I did the online course. And then I think I was licensed end of December, early January.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was right after COVID, though.
Right after COVID.
Yeah.
But still riding that COVID high.
Right.
So, yeah. So how was that like jumping in at that moment?
I mean, it was good. I mean, I didn't have much experience on the converting lead side. So it took some practice to, build up that, because I feel like you kind of need to have a backbone. You're going to get hung up on sometimes, and you have to know, like, numbers wise, if you make 50 calls, likely you're going to have one good conversation out of that. So that was part of it.
Yeah. I hate cold calling.
Yeah.
And I've never done it.
Well, that's good.
Ever. That's the one marketing tactic I have not done is cold calling. I've tried to get Courtney to do it. I think most of the time she just tells me what she normally does, like, yeah, I'll do it. And then it just never gets done, right? Because she does that sometimes. One thing she doesn't want to do, 100%. So, yeah. So, and I know it can be an effective marketing strategy, right? Realtors. And it's funny when you start asking people like, hey, how do you get business or whatever? You'll get, someone will say cold calling. Then you get somebody say, that doesn't work, Google doesn't work. This doesn't work.
I think you need to have multiple sources.
And sometimes it's just the person doing it, right? You're just not effective at that tactic or strategy.
Absolutely.
You
don't want to come off as like spam caller,
Yeah.
You want to have a reason to call them, provide some sort of value and kind of plan out those conversations so that you're not just, oh, this person answered the phone. Now what?
That'd be me,
Yeah.
I don't know, didn't expect that. Can we hang up and you just let it go to voicemail? Yeah. And you also got to pick the seasons too, right? Because if it's like coming off an election season, everybody's getting phone calls about polls and who you're going to vote for, and anyway, so you get wrapped up in that algorithm, right? People don't want to talk to you because they're already getting spammed to death anyways because of what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So,
right now, I'd say is definitely the time to do open houses, door knocking. We have to get a little bit more creative with picking up leads because cold calling is not working.
Yeah.
Because we get close to the holidays.
Yeah, and same thing. People are just exhausted, right? Which is sad because the holidays shouldn't be exhausting, but they are every year. You got the Thanksgiving rush and then getting ready for Christmas and families and presents and events and Santa Claus and
family and travel.
Yeah. So people just don't want to do anything extra, right? So, I don't like talking to people to begin with. So
and it's a high stress time too. And one of the most stressful things in life is definitely moving. So people don't want to deal with both at the same time.
No. So what's some of your strategies for this time of year?
Definitely working on alternate forms of, lead generation. So I focus a lot more on like social media stuff. Kind of getting some videos together. So I'll have those, throughout the rest of the year. Because in the spring, it's going to get crazy again. So especially if anything were to go down on the rate side.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something, kind of getting all our goals in order and just preparing for the spring market really at this point. And, I think focusing on open houses, even though you're not going to get as many people in them, the people that do come through are going to be more serious than, typical, because they're not going to just ride around looking at open houses unless they need a house.
It's too cold for that nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get, dropped off in neighborhoods by Doug.
Yeah. There's that.
There's that. Yeah. I told Doug we was going to make fun of him today.
Go good.
Yeah.
I hope he listens.
So, what do you think going into the holidays? We are pretty, since I've been in business, it's been pretty much clockwork. 2 weeks after New Year's, like the phones are dead, and then they just start ringing again, like almost exactly 2 weeks every time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. So, I used to stress about it. Now I'm just like, well, and then clockwork. Third week they just start ringing.
Absolutely.
So heard a lot of people talk about it. But what do you think? You said getting ready for the spring market. What do you think the spring market is going to look like?
I'm thinking, we're still low on inventory. We've been low on inventory for years, so still hasn't caught back up. So we still have a lot of buyers that have been sitting on the sidelines, just waiting for the right moment. And, I think that when rates do go down, if they drop anything below a 6%, we're going to see a lot more competition on each of those homes. So multiple offers, very competitive, over asking price, waived inspections,
so
waived appraisals. So I think, for buyers that want to wait, they should try probably to look more before the spring, January, March. But if you have to wait, then good luck.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing that you see a lot of is I'm just going to wait and till the rates go down. And I get it if you're at like a 2.5%, 3%.
Yeah, for sure.
But
first time home buyers though, that's where it's like
because again you wait till the rates drop from 8% to 6%. Cool, but now you're 20,000 over asking. So you're not saving anything.
No.
Your payments are the same because you're going over asking because, again, it's an inventory problem.
Right.
And as long as it's an inventory problem, prices are going to go up. And when the rates go down, it's just going to flood the market with buyers. And we're right back into 20 offers, no contracts, and buyers getting frustrated.
Yeah, and I also think, there's other programs, too, that can help you get a lower rate. There was that 4.99% program that George Mason was doing. And, I know that ended, so nobody go for that. But there's 2-to-1 buy-down program. So there's options out there to help you.
Yeah.
There's also a lot more leverage on a seller's side right now, so you could potentially negotiate a rate buy-down from the seller. If you wait till the spring, good luck. Good luck getting any negotiation in.
Yeah, because the inventory problem's not going to solve itself anytime soon.
No.
If it hasn't solved itself by now, it's when rates went up, right? It's just not going to solve itself anytime soon.
Right.
Not unless something, in my opinion, and I'm a nobody, unless something dramatic happens, right? That forces a flood of inventory.
Yeah.
But in order to force a flood of inventory, with where we are, then that means you have to force a flood of people renting or moving, consolidating, right? Multi-generational families moving in. And that's just a lot because there's a lot of equity in homes right now. And, where you going if you sell your house?
Yeah.
Most people sell their house to buy another house. So,
exactly.
So the inventory issue isn't going to solve itself anytime soon, but we can bleep out that whole section on the 4.99, George. So if you don't want to trigger Doug on that one,
we don't want to trigger Doug. He's gonna be like, "You had to bring that up." Sorry. But yeah, I will say too, like rental numbers are increasing. Investors have not slowed down. That's who's buying up all the properties right now, and they're going to turn them into rentals. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's getting weird, especially here, in the Chesterfield, Virginia area, around the Richmond area. Everything's turning into rentals.
Yeah.
They're putting stuff up everywhere.
Yeah, and this just comes back from, when money was cheap, because there's this narrative that big corporations are buying up houses, but it's really not. It's realtors turn investors or contractors turn investors, my neighbor, things like that. People that just got into it, because we bought our house for $190,000 in, I don't know, I've been saying 10 years for like the last couple of years, but I really think it's about 10 years ago now. And it was new construction. And when we refinanced, it appraised for like 360, 365. Oh, wow. And that's when rates were, 3%. So we're probably pushing 385 at this point. So that's a lot of equity that you can pull out to invest in an investment property. Or a lot of people like with VA loans, you can qualify for additional VA loans if you're moving, so they keep their old house at whatever rate, and now they're renting it out, or money was just cheaper for second mortgages or investment properties to begin with. Right. So when money was cheap, a lot of people got in the game, and absolutely. Since then they've only been building up their capital to continue to be in the game. So that's why you see an influx. And that's why I think you see an influx of just businesses in general. Like you look around Richmond, every other week there's a new restaurant, a new burger place, a new barbecue place. And it's because at one point, money was cheap. Right. So it was easier to invest and get businesses going.
I'd say even, I'm not an expert on this, but I do think that a lot of people worry about a housing market crash or something like that. I think that we'd be more likely to see like a small business crash or a business crash because of how many businesses were started.
Yeah, and where you've seen some of that because I see on my Facebook feed, again, every other week, this restaurant's closing its doors. Yeah. They've been open for 3 years, whatever. Along with new restaurant doing this, new taco stand, whatever. So you do see, and the restaurant industry is hard anyways. Hospitality is hard anyways, because the margins just they're razor thin.
And the cost of
Yeah, food. But there's just so many people, even in the trades. I am gonna go start my own HVAC company, and you're just a one man show. And when business is plentiful and the money's cheap, it's easier to do that. But yeah, I think you're right. You can, or we're probably more likely to see, and it's a saturation thing, right? There's only so many, times I can go get a pizza, during the course of a month, let alone a week. So, if there's 3 pizza places within a 4-block radius, fourth or fifth one opens up, you just saturate the market. Right. It doesn't matter how good you are. You're still losing customers to the new thing. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of that in a lot of industries. Realtors saw that. How many realtors came into market, right? You being one of them. Yep. And now over the last, I guess, year and some change, we've seen a lot leave. Yes. Same thing for home inspectors. Yep. There's been quite a few.
And that's what happens, I guess, though.
It is.
The market starts to shift. They say that, just hang on tight because when it comes back up, it's going to come back up.
Yep. And there's going to be less competition,
right?
Quote unquote. So it'll be really good for you, if you ride out the storm. And that's kind of what we're banking on. As I keep hiring people, hoping that we have enough business for everybody.
How many are you up to now?
At the end, right now we have 3 licensed inspectors plus me, so that's 4, and 1 in training.
Okay.
Right? Is that right? Yeah. So hopefully by January, the 1 on training will be out in the field. So 5 licensed inspectors total, and gearing up for that spring market. Hoping it's everything that we hope it to be.
Absolutely.
And keeps everybody busy. So, yeah. So what else you want to talk about?
I I don't know. Let me think.
What's some things you really enjoy about real estate?
I love helping. I love to help people in general.
Yeah,
so,
next answer.
I know,
That's what
I know,
says,
I know.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, to be an agent, you have to want to help people. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of agents out there. It's, there's tons of agents.
Tons. So many.
And, you want to pick a good agent and someone that cares more so about your well-being than they do about whatever paycheck they're going to get. So I don't know. I love my clients, seeing their look on their face when we do our final walkthrough and we're about to go to closing. Yeah. And, just hearing like, I've worked with 3 other agents and you were the best. Like you took the time to like understand me. And, that's what makes it, I guess, rewarding.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. What makes it rewarding for me is when we find stuff we can post on social media.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Agents don't appreciate that.
They say that you guys should be in the crawl space recording that raccoon that you run into.
Yeah. So where do you see yourself? Because right now you're with a team.
Yeah.
And not putting you on the spot. But that's all you've known so far, right? Yeah. Is being with the team. What's your aspirations? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road?
I definitely want to get more into the investment side. I want to flip my own properties. And I'd love to start my own team one day. So
nice.
That would be the goal. But I don't know how long that'll take because I want to focus on me and learn everything that I can before I pursue that. I've
got a home inspection team you can have.
Oh.
Yes. Yes, if you're interested in that. Something you want to say over there?
We're pretty cool.
We're pretty cool. Yeah.
Seems like it to me.
Yeah. Most days it's like babysitting. I
think that's every business owner or manager.
Today, like just for today, example, right? So I call Courtney or Courtney calls me and it's like 10:40 and I told her we were doing this at 11 for a reason, right? So she wouldn't be here at 11:29.
Right.
For 11:30 start time. So she's like, hey, I'm at Target. In my mind, she's in Target in Williamsburg because she lives on that side of New Camp. Oh. And I said, first question, are you going to make it to the podcast? And she's like, yeah, I'm just right down the road. I said, okay. And she said, that's a fair question, though.
Yeah. Target's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just assumed that she was on the other side of the world at Target instead of where she was supposed to be, which was here.
Yeah.
And then she just takes time off whenever she feels like it. Doesn't tell me or anything.
I do too tell him.
You do not.
And then
Hey, it's really bad content when you're on mute. Just so you know.
I tell him all the time. I put it in the calendar and I even am like, hey, I'm going to be taking off at the end of the month. And he's like, what? That's him fussing. And then I remind him 2 weeks later, and then he's like, what? You never told me that. Yes, I did. For instance, I will not be here at the end of December because I'll be in Florida for Christmas. And I have told him this 4 times now, and I think now he's just now remembering that that's going to be a thing.
Well, it's recorded today.
I remember. I just don't remember
This
the
is
dates.
the second time. This is the second time it's been on record.
She's very stressful.
Do you check your calendar?
No.
Oh, okay. No. That makes sense.
No. Well, see, because there's really 3 calendars. 2 of them sync, which is my personal Gmail calendar. Mm-hmm. And I share with my wife, so I can see her stuff on there. But that syncs to our software, right? Our reporting software. So those 2 sync. But in our emails, because we use Outlook, there's another calendar there, and I just don't ever check that one because I don't put anything in that one for me.
Yeah.
And when we had another office staff person, I was like, hey, put all your stuff in there. But that was really Courtney's responsibility to keep track of. I'm like, hey, you're responsible for this guy, right? So she just puts stuff in there off. And then like, I put in the calendar. I don't check that calendar. You know?
That's why I remind him 5 times.
Yeah. Because I'm never on my actual computer hardly anymore. I try to come up with excuses on why I don't want to be on my computer, which isn't a good business practice because there's so much stuff you get behind on, you know, like
you got to use your email as your checklist.
Yeah.
That's what, at least how we're like trained in real estate. It's everyone else's checklist for you.
And I mean, so sometimes like this afternoon, I'm going to go home and I'm like, I need to set the computer and do stuff. Or I can keep watching this Netflix show I've been watching because the couch is so close to.
So what are you watching on Netflix?
Oh my goodness, I'm watching Suits right now.
Oh, I started that. I didn't finish it.
Yeah, I started that when it came out.
I also have started it and then didn't finish it, but now I'm like doing it again. Like I started it in February of last year.
How long is it?
It's got a couple seasons.
9 seasons.
Is it 9 seasons? No wonder I never finished it.
8 on Netflix, the 9th one is on Amazon Prime.
I lose interest after a few seasons.
Too. Bridgerton is one that I have yet to lose interest in.
I finished Suits, but that's only because I didn't watch the final 2 seasons the original run. So I just finished the final 2 seasons like within the last month. So
I can tell you where I'm at. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. Just ignore the fact that she's probably just hit stop recording on this whole thing.
No.
She checks it.
I did. I check it every time. I am on.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I bounce around. So I'll watch Peaky Blinders for like a season. And then
I'm on season 3.
Yeah, I'm on season 3.
Suits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're talking about Peaky Blinders.
I don't know what that is.
I've seen that on Netflix. Never watched it.
It's good.
What's it about?
It's like a Prohibition era type setting.
Well, that sounds cool because I like history stuff.
Yeah, and it's in England. It's based in England, but kind of like a mob type show. And I'll watch Vikings for a little bit, and then I'll go off of that and watch, something.
Have you ever watched Game of Thrones?
I have not.
Oh my gosh.
I have not.
So good.
Me neither.
I feel like
My mom
nobody
did.
has.
Courtney wasn't allowed though.
I could have if I wanted to. It was just too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is long. That was like years
Plus,
ago.
it was like really hyped up. So I'm like that person that's like, I don't want to watch the hype up stuff. And then like 2 years later, I'll watch it.
Yeah. Well, I wish that I could like forget it all and rewatch it because that was the best show.
Do you ever rewatch a show?
I hate rewatching shows.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What? I have like 3 shows that I just rewatch on the daily.
I mean, like the funny ones, like The Office or
The
like
Office.
The Mindy Project or things like that I can rewatch. But
Courtney doesn't appreciate my Office jokes.
oh, I love The Office.
I grew up like with that on the TV. So a lot of them just go over my head because I don't like realize it.
Yeah.
Because there's like that was a show when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you're not that far different in age.
I know. I'm aware. That's why I'm like, all of them go over my head because I haven't watched it now that I'm older.
Yeah.
I just know like the big scenes, like the chili scene and like all the pranks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny sometimes, but it does get old after a while.
I rewatched The
breaks.
Office probably about a year ago. Cheers. I watched Cheers all the way through.
Sid rewatches The Office every year. It's like an annual thing.
Don't worry about what I do with my time.
I don't watch it in order either.
Oh, yeah?
Just random, yeah.
I mean,
I see
can
clips
that.
of it on TikTok, and then I'll like watch an episode of it on TikTok, and then be like, I gotta go. I gotta switch this.
Yes.
I've done Sons of Anarchy and Justified. I've rewatched both of those.
Oh, Justified is good.
It is.
Yeah.
My mom likes Sons of Anarchy.
Yep.
What's the other one that's like Sons of Anarchy, but it's...
The Mayans.
Yes,
Yeah.
I watched that. I didn't watch
Yep.
Sons of Anarchy.
But those are really about the only ones I've rewatched. I'm not a big rewatcher of shows. Like, same thing. I mean, I'll do an occasional episode if I see something pop up.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
Yeah, but if I already know what's going to happen in the end to everybody, it's just...
Like, I really
takes
gotta
away.
like the show for
Yeah.
me to, like, a couple years later, I'm going to go rewatch it. But there's some people, like, on The Office, as soon as the last episode ends, they start over again.
Yeah, no.
Just constantly. Like, I couldn't do that. I can't do that.
I don't even like the first season anymore because it's just, I've seen it so many times.
Well, and I think now there's so much content out there. So much content that I think that's just, I mean, I don't know how you just keep watching the same show over and over again. Yeah. So.
I do that. I watch the same show. Chowder? Chowder will never become, like, I will rewatch that all the time.
Never seen that.
It's a cartoon.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's, like, really good. They do a lot of, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's so good. They have one of the best fourth wall breaks that in the history of animation. Yeah.
Wall breaks?
Yeah. So, like, a fourth wall break when you are talking directly to the audience instead of, like, to the characters.
Seen Deadpool?
Oh. Deadpool?
The movie Deadpool?
Yeah.
You know how he just talks to the camera? That's breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. That's a fourth wall break.
Yeah.
So, like, in one of the episodes of Chowder, they spend all of their money and they don't have any money, so they lose the animation. So then the voice actors have to go and do a car wash to get the animation back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's like a huge fourth wall break.
That's crazy. Yeah, I never knew it was called that. That's how The Office is, though, when they just talk to the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Kind of.
Kind of.
It's more like when they do like the looks at the camera when something happens and they do like the like.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Your face off camera makes for great content as well.
Just do the
This
face.
is why I'm behind the camera.
You do the
This
face.
is why. Well, I feel like people know what the face is.
Yeah.
Where you
Just put in the
Side
corner
eye.
of the screen.
We
one of them
need-
side eye the camera.
When you release this podcast episode, there needs to be a poll question. Do you know what the face is?
I
Yes or
will.
no?
I will do that.
Do
I'll
it.
put that in like one of the like little icon things
Do
because
it.
you can put it that.
In
Yeah.
7
Yeah.
months from now, when you actually get the reel up for this episode,
Is this it? Is this the real?
yeah, yeah, yes.
This will be
yeah.
the real.
Is the face a thing? Yes or no?
The face is the thing. It's the look, actually, not the
The
face.
look,
It's the
Yeah.
look.
whatever. I really wasn't listening to you, so that's how quickly I forgot what you said.
You see what I have to deal with?
Yeah, well, you should. You know Doug, right?
Yeah, she knows Doug. Yeah, Doug's he's special.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to say about Doug?
Doug's great. He's
Doug-
the best lender in the world. So
Uh-huh.
if you want to buy a house, call Doug.
Yeah,
Doug
always.
Foreign, AFN.
If you want a really nice conversation about some interesting topics,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and he'll also entertain you.
yes. He talks about his nipples apparently. from what I hear.
I haven't had that conversation
That's
yet.
good.
So
That's
yeah.
good. He claims he was talking about tattoos, and he has a tattoo on his chest, I guess.
Oh.
And he says wraps around his nipple. So I don't really know. I just know what Jeanette
Great.
told me.
Yeah.
Jeanette just said first time she ever met him, he's talking about his nipples.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
you know,
that's
speaking
also
of
Jeanette.
tattoos, a tattoo that I want is a ghost riding a skateboard.
That's
Yeah.
unique. Where'd you get that idea?
Well, so I work as a scare actor outside of this, and my first ever character was a ghost character. So that's like the ghost. And then the skateboard is going to be the skateboard from a character that me and my dad really like the show. And he's passed away, so like that's like a little meme
Oh,
to him.
yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
cute.
that's what it
That's
is.
a good idea.
She wants it on her butt cheek.
I do not want it on my butt cheek.
For your dad?
That is a lie. That is not where I want it. I don't know where I want it, but not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's really hard to decide where to get one.
Right?
You got tattoos?
I do. I have like 4, I think.
Yeah.
They all hurt really bad.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law had a USDA grade A stamp tattooed on his butt.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Wow.
he'd show you anywhere. Anywhere. I saw it in a Texas Roadhouse
For the first time?
for the first time.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Poor waitress said, I'll be back.
Well, it is Texas Roadhouse,
Yep.
so
Yeah, she said, I'll give you all a
Anything
minute.
can
Thanks.
happen there.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Well, cool beans. 4 tattoos
Yep.
that you think. Where they at?
I have one on my foot, one on my back, and then one on each arm.
Okay. Which
Yep.
one hurt the most?
It was between the foot and the back
Yeah.
because it's like right on my spine, and then my foot It hurts.
Top of your foot?
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife has both kids' footprints, one on each foot.
That's cute.
Yeah. She never really said it hurt, but at the same time, this is after childbirth too. I think after you like give birth to a child, like your pain threshold just changes.
I would assume so.
Yeah. Yeah. I got one on my ribs, and they didn't put the numbing cream on it after the outline. I may have quit.
Really?
That one sucked.
I'm getting numbing cream. I don't care.
That one sucked.
I do not care.
I didn't ask for it. He just started putting it on there.
I don't know if they did that on me or not.
I'm getting it. I
I've
will
only
bring
had
my
it-
own.
Yeah. I would.
I've had it twice now. And the one I just got on my calf, he just did after like 4 hours. He's like, here, this is going to feel great. Sure. But
Well, the one right here, I will say it hurt really bad, but I feel like it's because I could see them like right so close to my face doing it. So I don't know.
mine wasn't too bad. Down here, up here in the elbow is where it hurt. The rest of it was fine. So, yeah. Yeah, we should all go get tattoos. What do you think, Courtney?
Dude, I'm down.
She already knows what she's getting.
I already know what I'm getting. So here's the thing. I want to wait until like my grandparents like are out of the picture because that'll be the death
Out
of them.
of the picture.
That will be the
Yeah, no.
So-
like I don't want to say I don't
I
want to
know
wait
what
until
you
they
mean.
die, but
know what you
like
mean.
That's kind of what you said, though.
but like I feel like saying like I want to wait until they're dead to get a tattoo like is like sad.
Another
So, like,
poll
out of the
question is
picture.
out of the picture better than saying until they die.
And
Yes
who
or no?
else is waiting for their grandparents to be out of the picture to
Yes.
get a tattoo?
Are you waiting for your grandparents to be out of the picture? Yes or no? See, we
It's
got some poll questions
I don't
going
think
on
you're
now.
the only one. I feel like I've heard people say that.
Yeah, because like that's like my mom has a tattoo, so I'm not hard pressed about her, but neither of my grandparents do, and they're hardcore don't get tattoos.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
You can
growing
hide it.
up in my family, it
well-
was, are you ready for your first drink and you ready for your first tattoo? Like up and down the family tree there. So
Yeah.
it was mostly on my mom's side.
Yeah.
It was, let's go do this.
Yeah. I
The
feel like
issue
that
with
was
hiding it is they're in Florida,
Oh no.
right on the water
So you're
side.
getting it on the butt again.
No, I don't want to get it on the butt. So it's either wait until after I get married, or wait until, yeah.
Yeah. That.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got a dragon, and the guy that did my dragon tattooed my grandfather, my mom, my sister, and then me. So yeah, I'd have to wait for anybody to, what'd you call it? Moving on out of the picture.
Out of the
Out of the
picture.
Out of the picture. So yeah.
You guys are loyal to your tattoo artist.
Yeah, I think he went to jail at some point in between all that too. So there's
Yeah.
that.
You'll have that with tattoo
You'll
artists.
have that. You'll have that. But he was really talented.
Yeah.
Really good
It's
tattoo
for
artist.
character development.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Going to jail.
Exactly.
That's right. So anyways, anything else you want to talk about? Make fun of ducks some more.
I have a funny tattoo story
Go for it.
since we're on the topic of it. So when it was either my mom or one of my other aunts got their tattoo, it was whoever. So I have 3 aunts and then my mom, so it's 4 sisters. One of them got a tattoo. Don't know which one. And my grandma was like livid about it. So she got one of the like, it was a fake tattoo, but it's like one of the fake tattoos that are really hard to get off. And
Like
looks
a henna
real.
or something?
Kind of, but like it looks like an actual tattoo. So it's more like maybe one of like the airbrushed ones or something. But she got bitch written in like big letters down her
Courtney.
leg. And
Bleep.
We don't do that here.
and she took the girls after getting that on her, she took the girls to the mall in like shorts. So that was out for the world to see, and it embarrassed my aunts so badly to the point like they were crying and trying to like rub off the tattoo, and it wouldn't
my
rub
gosh.
off because it was like one of those like expensive like fake tattoos. Yeah, so that's what they got when they got their first tattoo. So
Well,
That's awesome.
that word.
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe if it was like a cherry, like they wouldn't have been so upset.
well my aunt just got like a normal tattoo, and then once my grandma like found out about it, she got that as like a you guys are going to get a tattoo. Well, then I'm going to get a tattoo too, and got that to embarrass them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That takes... I thought my family has some dysfunctional tendencies in it.
No.
Yeah.
We're all neighbors, so.
My family is...
We're dysfunctional.
My family is one of those that wears like a thing one, thing two, bitch one, bitch two. Yeah, and that's my mom. My mom, my aunt are all about that. Yeah.
Yo, I'm excited about Christmas this year because we're all going to be down in Florida for it. And
this is the first I've heard about that.
Oh my God. Anyway, we're going to be down in Florida for like a week. So me and my cousin, we're going to go bar hopping because it's on like a waterfront. So they have all the like beach bars there. It's really cool. And I asked my uncle the other day, I was like, you going to go bar hopping with us? And he's like, yeah, when and where? Where are we going? When we going? So that'll be an experience. Last Christmas, yeah, he was on the side of the building, passed out.
Oh, gosh.
So... I'm excited to what this Christmas will bring since we will be able to join them.
Yes. That sounds fun.
So many stories from previous lives.
You go out like Christmas night or like Christmas Eve night?
No, we'll probably go out that Saturday night before Christmas, because Christmas Eve we have to do the church service.
Yes, you gotta.
That's the only day I go to church.
Before getting passed out on the side of the building.
Maybe you can go before and after.
We pregame church service and then after party it too. That,
That's another poll question. Do you got to get right with the Lord before passing out drunk? Yes or no?
Well, last time we went to an Irish pub because that's like the closest thing to the church. So a little pre-gaming did happen before we
Irish
went.
Catholic,
Yeah, Irish pub.
Yeah.
I had hot chocolate. My mom had a spiked hot chocolate. So it was, yeah.
That sounds good.
I didn't have any of it. But my hot chocolate was good.
No one believes you here.
Have you guys ever been to the Lewis Ginter Christmas?
I've seen pictures.
What is that?
Lewis Ginter Botanical something.
Is that in Norfolk?
Christmas.
Or is that here? Is that
it's
Richmond?
like right in Richmond.
There's one in Norfolk too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know
it's a different name, but it's a botanical garden.
Yeah. Well, this one is supposed to be the best one, like one of the top ones in the nation.
See, the problem is when they do the Christmas lights for stuff like that, it's cold outside. Yeah. And it's an outside event. So I'll stick to the Facebook pictures of other people doing it.
Get some hand warmers, get a hot chocolate. You'll be fine.
That's right.
I'm going this weekend.
I work out in the cold, so I'm okay with it.
Oh, it took me a moment to think about that.
Yeah.
Like, do you?
I do. I work out in the cold in a costume, and it is freezing. Yeah. They gave me, I'm an elf for Santa, and I'm in a short sleeve dress, like poofed out. It looks like a cupcake dress. Out in the cold.
Where do you work at?
Busch Gardens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's your own fault.
That's far.
It's like a 20-minute drive from my house.
Oh, yeah, because you guys are in New Kent?
Mm-hmm. New Kent. Yep. Yeah, that's your own fault for choosing to do that.
Well, I finally got them to give me a long sleeve shirt to put underneath it.
You tell them to go to your union rep?
I went to my stage manager.
Going to HR?
Hey, unionize the actors at Busch Gardens.
Actors Guild.
Did you know, fun fact, that the Colonial Williamsburg workers, the actors there, they are unionized.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, really? They get benefits and they have like insurance and stuff there. And I was like, dang, I didn't know that.
Let's be honest though. Look at the conditions they got to work in to begin with. I mean, it's colonial times and era. I mean, you got to have some benefits.
They get it's
butter.
insane because I
churn butter 10 hours a day for people to take pictures of.
I was talking.
Nobody eats our butter.
I was talking to one of the actors that works there, and she worked there during the summer, and I was like, How were you able to work there during the summer? But since all of their costumes is like the actual, like the cotton and like the actual like
wool.
Yeah. It's like, she's like, it's cooler to be in those costumes than it is to be in what we wear out in the summertime, because it is all the like natural.
That's cool
stuff. And I was like, I didn't know that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So they're probably warmer than us in the winter and cooler than us in the summer.
I'm trying to do inspections until at least March at this point because it's kind of cold outside.
Yeah, it is. So
I'm gonna have to start telling people.
Inspectors out.
Yeah.
Huh?
You make your inspectors do it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna have to start like when I get calls and they're like, "Hey, can like Sid do an inspection for us?" I'll be like, "Sorry, it's too cold for him."
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can wait till March, you can.
Anything under, what's the temp that you're willing to do?
I mean, in a perfect world, anything under 65 should be a no-go.
And not
He's in
above
hibernation
180?
right now.
Oh, I don't have
75?
like a top, right?
So
I
if
don't
it's
mind the heat.
120 degrees outside, you're more willing to go do that.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And
I would rather the cold.
No, not at all. And you can thank Uncle Sam's Navy for that. When we went out to sea, because I worked on the flight deck, in January, February, coldest times of the year, especially if it was rainy, and you're out there on the flight deck, like, hey, can I get some foul weather gear? So we don't have that in the budget. So you're just out there for 12, 14, 18 hours a day, just freezing, and there's just no escaping from it. Because when you're out there in the cold for that long, you just don't come in and warm up. Like, you stay cold for a while.
Yeah.
But when you're out there in the heat, I mean, it still sucked, but there's still some reprieve when you come in and whatnot. That's a little bit faster. So never really, and you can stay out there longer. I could anyway. Some people.
So how long were you in the Navy?
5 years. Yeah. So off the coast or the Horn of Africa, it's like the hottest place on earth, I think. It was like when the ship was moving, the wind just made it that much worse. It was so hot.
Wow.
Like the deck temperatures would get to 130, 140, 150.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because when we'd have fuel spills from the jets and whatnot, they start steaming up, getting ready to flash, because the deck temperatures are so hot. So yeah, I don't mind the heat as much as the cold. So yeah, I don't have a max temperature. Now it does suck when you go to a house in August and like AC's not working today. Well, that kind of sucks, but that's more doable than the heat not working in the wintertime and having to do the whole inspection.
And that's like the requirement, like the difference between the requirements, right?
Yeah.
Heating and
Yeah.
you're required to have heat, but you don't have to technically have AC.
Kinda. By, I guess, guidelines or whatnot, that's true. But I recently, this is a duck question, actually. The way I understand it is while you have to have heat, air conditioning kind of falls under what do the other homes of similar value in that neighborhood have. So if the other houses on that street also have air conditioning, then it's reasonable to be required to have, depending on the load and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But that's going into Doug's territory there.
Right.
So he may or may not. If he can't answer that, then find a new loan officer, I guess. But yeah, so it's not.
I think it's like government loans. Like
sure.
They'll require.
Yeah. So it's not cut and dry, but yes, for the most part, you do have to have heat as a minimum.
Because if you don't have heat, your pipes will burst, right?
And you'll freeze to death.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that too.
Yeah, that's it.
On the house side.
That's right. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, though, if you don't have air conditioning and you don't have proper ventilation, because that's part of your HVAC system is the ventilation part. In the summertime, you'll get mold growth throughout the house.
Right. I've always wondered why that, like, some loan programs don't take that into account. Because we see a lot of fungal growth here in Virginia.
Yeah, I did a inspection in New Kent and in Brookshire, and it was bank owned. It was foreclosed.
Oh.
And it had been sitting for a year, and they didn't run the HVAC at all. And the entire basement, which was a full, drywall finished basement, there was just mold everywhere. And the bank just let it set. No, not our problem. But it is kind of okay.
It is, because now it needs to be treated.
Yep.
And that happened actually in Chesterfield at this house over in Cascade Creek. Same thing. Bank shut it down for like a year.
Yep.
Did not maintain it. Grass was super tall. The HOA fined them like a bunch of times. And then you go in the house and all you smell is mold.
Yep. So anyways, now that Courtney derailed the whole podcast.
What?
I appreciate you coming on. Do you have any last words you want to share with anybody?
No, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
And how do people find you or get a hold of you?
So you can find me online at Realtor Cassie Yarbrough, or you can call me at 804-409-2444.
And where all do you serve?
I serve all of Central Virginia, so just about probably a 2-hour radius around the Richmond area.
Nice. Well, thanks for coming on. This was fun.
Thank you. I appreciate it.